"No one wants me," she whispered, lifting her shirt. I stepped closer and said, "I do." I still remember the night because of the rain. Not because it was the hardest storm our town had seen in years, but because it was the night I almost drove past the bus stop without looking. If I had kept my eyes on the road for another second, I never would have seen the young woman sitting alone on the weathered bench, soaked to the bone, hugging herself, as if she could somehow hold the broken pieces together. I don't know what made me stop. Maybe it was the way she stared at nothing. Maybe it was the fact that every other person had already rushed home while she hadn't moved an inch. Or maybe life had decided our stories were supposed to collide. I pulled my truck over, rolled down the passenger side window, and called out, "Hey, are you okay?" She looked at me slowly, almost like she had forgotten people could speak kindly. "I'm fine." She wasn't. Even from where I sat, I could see bruises blooming along one wrist. I stepped out, holding my jacket over my head against the rain. "You'll freeze out here." I said, "I'm fine. You've been sitting here for at least 20 minutes. Her eyes widened. "You were watching me?" "I passed by on my way to the grocery store. You're still here." For a second I thought she'd tell me to leave. Instead, she looked away. "The buses stopped running an hour ago." I frowned. "Then how are you getting home?" She laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. "I don't have one anymore." Those words landed harder than the thunder overhead. I introduced myself. "I'm Ethan." She hesitated before answering. "Maya." Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Rain splashed around our shoes while cars hissed through puddles. Finally I said, "I own the repair shop 2 blocks over. There's coffee there, clean towels, and heat. You're welcome to wait until the storm dies down." "I don't need charity." "It's not charity." "What is it?" "It's one human being refusing to leave another standing in the rain." She studied my face, as if searching for the catch. "There isn't one," I said. "You don't even know me." "No. I could be dangerous." I smiled. "You look exhausted, not dangerous." For the first time the corner of her mouth almost lifted. Almost. She climbed into the truck without another word. The repair shop smelled like motor oil and fresh coffee. It wasn't fancy. Just an old brick building my father had opened 30 years earlier, before I took it over. Maya stood near the entrance, dripping water onto the concrete floor. "I'll make a mess." "The floor has survived leaking engines. It'll survive rain." I handed her a clean towel. She whispered, "Thanks." While she dried her hair, I poured 2 cups of coffee. She wrapped both hands around hers, but didn't drink. "You don't trust it?" I forgot what hot coffee feels like. Something about the way she said it made my chest tighten. Not dramatic, not looking for sympathy. Just honest. We talked carefully at first. She asked about the old photographs hanging on the wall. I told her about my dad teaching me to rebuild engines. She smiled at the picture of me at 12 years old, holding a wrench twice the size of my arm. "You looked proud." I was. "You still are." I try to be. Then silence settled between us again, comfortable this time, until I noticed she hadn't touched the coffee. "You okay?" She nodded too quickly. "Yeah. No." She looked down. My hands shake when I'm nervous. I finally noticed the tiny tremor. "It's okay. They always do this." "What happened?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I left." "Left where?" "My apartment." "Why?" She stared into the steaming cup. "Because staying would have destroyed me." I didn't ask another question. Sometimes people tell you the rest when they're ready. Sometimes they don't. Either way, forcing it never helps. Instead, I grabbed an old deck of cards from the office drawer. "Wanna play?" She blinked. "What?" "Cards. You seriously wanna play cards?" "I lose most of the time." That tiny smile returned. "I doubt that. You'd be surprised." An hour later she had beaten me 4 straight games. She celebrated each victory with the smallest grin I'd ever seen. It transformed her entire face. For a moment, she looked like someone who had forgotten how to be sad. Then her phone buzzed. Everything changed. She stared at the screen. Her hands began shaking harder than before. Don't answer if you don't want to. I have to. You don't. She pressed decline. The phone rang again. Then again. Then again. 37 missed calls. Every one from the same person. She turned the phone over so I couldn't see the name. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. I've caused enough trouble. You haven't caused any. You don't know the whole story. I don't need to. Her eyes searched mine. You really mean that? I do. She finally took her first sip of coffee. Around midnight, the rain stopped. I should go. Where? I'll figure something out. You don't have to wander around tonight. I can't stay here. Then stay at the small apartment above the shop. She immediately shook her head. No, it's empty. I couldn't. You'd be doing me a favor. How? My mom keeps telling me someone should use it instead of letting it collect dust. She laughed softly. That's a terrible excuse. I know. Another long silence. Then she whispered, Why are you helping me? It was a simple question, but the answer wasn't. Because 5 years earlier, after my younger sister ran away from an abusive relationship, a stranger had given her one safe place to sleep. One stranger. One act of kindness. It had saved her life. I looked at Maya and quietly said, Because someone once did the same for my family. She lowered her eyes. I don't know how to repay you. You don't. She looked surprised. You just need to rest. For the first time, that entire night,